You thinking like I'm thinking that this is a smile. It's not the only smile I have, but this is a type of speech that I use to not create my own dialogue, but to make sense of the truth that doesn't condense my statement, but compels the fear that I have not to make me use statements to compile an address for even the series of those questions that are caused to even the greatest debates that I can't confuse with Nixon and Kennedy to make communism a statement, but to regard what I spoke, while it is that I was aggressing where I wasn't correcting, is that with regards to my terrorism, it can't compile a political address to communism, a political party that's true. But if terrorism is the only political party that I have to bring to you, what could take time for it to be that terrorism is being used to replace communism and to embrace a state of collective momentum that's being instrumentalized by now who I hear and see being granted authority to speak as it is the president. I don't want to say elect, but the president of Israel, I see speaking, representing the 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 presentated issue that I don't want to involve myself without speaking of. I saw the guy talk for the first time a moment ago, and it wasn't so hard to have seen that. But after a couple weeks after where I was staying after the entire war occurred, I mean speaking about things such as what the Gaza Strip could be. It's a a lot of different places that seem that way. Um, Me being entertained is not me having that. It's time to have that uh spoken agenda leaving $311 of a state. But in these moments, without 3 minutes, I want to make a statement for myself to have while we are here, what we have here to consider. I mean, as it is, we do how everyone does what it is that I have that I can consider about what I want with myself to not take, so seriously about that which can be, I mean, concerning what I have to assort with my time, but I don't speak lightly of it. So I want to go motivate myself without having these things because I think I have the type of black coffee that could look specific. I myself ran out of coffee creamer, and that itself has an abundance of sugar in it. Sugar. Stating that alone, here I have what I'm looking at. That needs more. So you can see this, right? You don't want to believe it. You want to look. That there says recyclable K cup pods. So this is a K cup, and this is a recyclable pod, but it has caffeine inside. So what does that make? That makes this recyclable pod good, but the caffeine not recyclable. It makes me wrong for not recycling, you know, this or putting the pods outside to be recycled today while garbage is, not considered. I saw things I don't want to talk about, but where I want to fill out access is not a position I want to talk with to sustain my opportunity to talk about where I can. But as I want to speak, I can. So what I see about the Israel country is that what it's doing by itself is using its war that it claims as an opportunity to answer to all terrorists independently and to approach every terrorist organization as a different country so it can actually use all of its weapons and soldiers in Israel as real-time policies to address as terror comes to Israel, not to America. And it doesn't look smart. It doesn't seem right because even things I know about like starvation, I was talking about Mahatma Gandhi, but I wasn't saying that he was starved. He used starvation. It was something that happened when it is it did that had that Mahatma Gandhi died. Even that I was saying I was going to say that made that Mahatma Gandhi died even after it was I feel as though the starvation that he indicated was a hunger strike. So I'm going to wait for the carbon monoxide poisoning that I'm being rendered by way of this gas mixture of air not to come by way of my back door or a step that leads to a basement, but this priority I have that doesn't, leave me alone to be, asphyxiated with somebody who's not gaining time. But I want to save my momentum to make that today could be December the 20th for a little bit of time because I'm not at all, considering December the 20th to recycle. I'm only letting it be today because it is today for me. So a hunger strike could start at school. It could end in elementary school. But the benefits that are related to healthcare can't be a health benefit that can give what a veteran soldier gets from a veteran insurance that comes by way of a 401k that a Marine can get from being employed as a soldier in an American Army that still gets health care benefits. American Army soldiers still get health care benefits rendered by not having that they have dual income families, just that they're motivated by what benefits American soldiers still receive, that they can die while on active duty or while in America. But I didn't want to make that quickly fast to condition what it is I want without my hair condition, and a temporary permanent vacation will let you be with my perm, it's just permanent. But if you have something that's not permanent, it's not my temporary vacation. And this is my hair I'm wearing now. So you understand how difficult it could be for me to have on a wig. You don't even understand the type of hat I use for my head. So yes, I have a wig on. And I don't want to render me by myself alone. I just want not to make a mistake while it is. I'm in my house here and I want to I want to have all these things that I can bring to ABC. I like ABC News Live at this point in time because with the top news, Israel signals Israel
Israel's president saying the country is ready for another humanitarian pause in the fighting. President Isaac
a
Herzog
pause
says Israel
and
wants to bring home more hostages, but that the responsibility lies fully with the leadership of Hamas. This
a
comes
pause in exchange for release of hostages.
Cairo to hold talks with Egyptian officials about the war.
Israel and Hamas were.
Joins me now from Tel Aviv, Israel, for more on this. And as Israeli Defense Forces say that they will still operate deep in Gaza during, quoting here, the next day. And in there were some reports, unconfirmed reports at this point, the report that Israel had offered a.
It's enough time while I'm speaking to say that it's not going to be the same to talk about. I mean, as it is to have stated, but
Israeli men calling on the Israeli government to do more to secure their release, and then Hamas also releasing a video of another three hostages, three elderly men who appeared thin and they have long beards.
It's the news I'm watching here, but I mean,
that is offering a lot of pressure on the Israeli government. That might be why we're seeing this what appears to be
it's not.
movement there. I will say that we did hear.
It's not the Venezuelan president right here. With 10 Americans detained in Venezuela for release in the prison. Oh, Biden is using his time so he can get prisoners released who are guilty in America. That's not South America, but 10 Americans detained in Venezuela are involved in a prisoner swap, so that they're going to be Americans in America that are going to be exchanged for Americans in Venezuela at the same time. So those 10 prisoners can be free in America. But with what standards? By the standard I have, to actually include this and an opportunity not to have said it, but to make no mistake of what this has. It has that's not a prisoner swap. That's just an identity of detained Americans released from Venezuela in exchange for close ally of President Maduro. So it does look exactly like that, but it's not going to be like that to continue. Um, I heard of something called starvation being a reality that is placed in the hands of the president, the two or three presidents in Israel that are going to stop using starvation as a tactic and start, making it a reality that they're going to use for the Muslims and that place on the earth permanently, so they don't consider Palestine as a place. So it's considered as a place cut off from war, and a place introduced to the new Israel army, the army of Israel that seems new. So I didn't want to take time to have to make a mistake about what it is I would, but I was concerned with a lot of things that could have been, my mistake about that which happens to what it could be in Philistine or in Palestine or in Hamas territory. But I was here for an amount of time. I have seen things for an amount of time, and I saw what it is I needed to see. And all immediately at this point, to say what it is that I want to say, it's not going to stop what I want while I'm positioned to continue as I want to, with my life as it will. But to have made a mistake out of many different types of things, it's not a mistake I'm making with this one position I want to speak of. It's only that it's still Wednesday, and it's not even the time for anything to be, capable of escaping. The warpath, the where I want to say is Benjamin, the individual in Israel who lives there, and his vice president who gives him advice. I mean, it's just not that easy. So the Israel army also probably has things to say or things that can be said. What I feel is that they also have veterans insurance, which insures army veterans, but these health benefits don't come together to separate and make my time not separate. But I really wanted to I wanted to have time that made sense of the type of common sense that could be used. Well, I don't make mistakes about what it is I have. It's just I don't have a certain way to use recreation, to speak of what recess can be had. I was in junior high school, and I still don't remember recess, but in elementary school, there is recess. There is recess. So, junior high school is not recess. In high school, it's not a vocation, but junior high looks like middle school from now on, doesn't it? And it looks like I made mistakes about cutting my hair. Everybody I know can see that I don't have a haircut. But even I know that when I put a hat on, I get a nice fade. But what I look like tomorrow, it's not going to be right for tomorrow night. But at this point in time, it's knowing that I had enough coffee to be awake all night, thinking about what I want to think about, how cold it's going to be all next year. I want to tell you truthfully that what happened on Monday happened. So I'm going to tell you. On Monday, Jonathan Vandy and Philip is a guy so dumb. His name is, let's call him Philip Murray Lawson. Those are two Phillips I know well enough to say they personally know Michael McClendon. So the other Philip, the white Philip, he came to my house with an African person named Jonathan Vandy and stood outside so long that they both made me uncomfortable enough to make me feel like I was being rated or inappropriately positioned, and I felt violated. So they came here Monday together, and I spoke about a lease, and renewing a lease. Why won't I renew the lease in 2025? There won't even be a lease possible in America for people to be alive. So I want to make certain that, if my hand was forced, it was to stay in this house long enough to say that, another year would be fine enough for me. But at this point in time, since all hands were forced, I have another year to consider what it is I want to consider here. And by next year, it's not going to be fine enough for me. It's going to be more appropriate enough for me to consider what happens when it's a time that I'll use to to look for another house to own. And it won't be here. But I know about different things, and I understand different ways that these things could come by way of what happens. But I also understand that there's a place where you can work at ShopRite that has that. They don't even have full-time positions available at ShopRite for anybody who works there. That's the ShopRite in Trenton, New Jersey. I was going to tell you that I worked at. Where I was working at. So right now, it's not that. But the benefits that they discuss aren't healthcare benefits. They're not SNAP benefits. They have a benefit, and they have benefits, but I don't know if they have Aetna. I don't know if they have Horizon. I don't know what HMO they chose to promote for their employees. So I know what HMO I chose to promote for my employees, the one I use, but I don't use Aetna as a HMO. It's only a secondary insurance that's allocated by that which can be known about Medicare, health insurance coverage. So I'm not taking away what can be used about any other place that I would have to work, but I'm not talking about having to work. It's just what I don't want to make a mistake about. The next time I can speak about what a girl named Imani has with AIDS, or what she can be doing with a person so long that she already has a child planned. and her Planned Parenthood mind. And what she does is, what she did, I'm going to find out what type of drugs that her and her boyfriend used together when I find out what type of diseases that their child has alone. You understand? I don't know how to tell you, but I know that I have a father named Craig McClendon because he's my father. And I have a mother named Garnetta McClendon because she's my mother. I have a best friend named Deandra McClendon because she don't know nobody that do stupid things like crack cocaine. And if we all did, we would have said that Craig did crack cocaine and he smoked crack with Garnetta Cocaine McClendon. And we all took that same crack and brought it to my house. So we could locate who would be so stupid that they would remember how to get a COVID test, but they wouldn't take a pregnancy test enough times to let it be known. How do I know that there's a girl named Imani that's having a son? Because they're using different type of healthcare benefits that don't come here in Trenton, New Jersey, so they can advertise a child and they're closing on a house. And my dad, Willie Craig McClendon, told me already, he said that my daughter's boyfriend bought her a house because he's the one, he bought her a house. So they're the people that have all the cool stuff and they don't have anything for me. I have Abraham Lincoln is not president-elect, but there's a Blinken and there's me. And I know that Abraham knows what to do with Isaac the first time he had a chance to kill the boy and make it that he is dead, sacrificed. I'm going to tell you what I do about a crackhead without shooting him, is letting him know for a simple fact that I am not going to talk to you about the crack you use. I'm just not going to be a practicer of crack cocaine that I have. So I can continue to use it and then employ it for a pregnancy test for Imani's child. You see? Because you won't recall where I'm going to have in the end of this position. I'm not going to have uh, a gynecologist, because if I did, my gynecologist would call me and say, listen, Michael, you have a daughter who's pregnant. But since I do, my gynecologist, fucking Willie Craig McClendon, he's smart. And he knew what happened when everybody said it. So, I mean, because of me being here, I don't know how to direct what it is that make the disrespect for my food stamps come so compliantly. It's just that to separate all these things, they're not going to make us all a time or audacity. It's just that with the ignorance embedded in my daughter alone, it's just she can be enough of stupidity to advocate and advertise what it is I want by myself. I want another chance to have another daughter or another son, and I have that tomorrow, and I'm going to keep that because I know for a fact that I don't need that chance. I just need the opportunity to have had something to have said to my daughter when she was alone so she can be better off than being scared when she knows about what her father does. Because I scare her a lot when I'm in her household or when I'm in her home or when I'm in my house with my mom and she has a time to use her phone and my mom says, Imani said she's scared of you. And then I walk around and I look in my house, and she's the only one who's scared. But she wasn't scared when she moved out of our house and got pregnant. In 5 years, you see, I was a father who he is, an overprotective father who would administer something like discipline and have things to use, like belts and weapons, to beat my daughter if it was that was necessary. My daughter's afraid of the authority I have and the time I have to question her about what authority she has to move in to where I live in Trenton, New Jersey, with a dead baby that I would have aborted, even if it was a question I would use to have her stay in her mom's stomach. Now she wants to have a place in society or a place in my family. She can use it to place herself in a real wedding with her husband before I have time to find out what her husband has placed in his house, other than my mom, other than Craig McClendon, and other than a gun. Because there's things that are going to protect us from my child. It's nothing that's going to protect us from my child. My child doesn't protect us from me. You know who my child is? My children. And I have all of them in sight for a K cup. And this, the only time I have that I can use is the place I have. Because starvation is not a question. It's a fact of what I can't impress, but to assert what I feel Angela Davis has. She doesn't have the time to feel like Jane Fonda, because Jane Fonda can't be Angela Davis, and Angela Davis can't be attacked. It's just things that don't make them the same thing at the same time. But I'm not a patriot. And as an analyst, I need more time to have to understand the news that I can confront by way of that, which would be non-conflictual about what it is I have with regards to the news that, I have placed for me. So what I want to say, I have, and how it is I said these things I said, is how it is I'm going to continue, and why it is I don't want to stop speaking about what I want to start speaking about. But, even at this point in time, while I'm talking, I would like to have had something to have said while I would speak. And as it is that, what it is I'm talking about. So, even at this time, I'm not made clear to have been appropriated by a, a, a statement that I don't want to have. But it is, I stated things that I want to without, expecting what it is I want. That's expecting. It's just, I look real good. I look nice. I still do. But this artificial light just doesn't bring the exposure clear. And listen, man, even tomorrow I want to talk about benefits, to talk about SNAP benefits, and to talk about Medicare benefits. But SNAP benefits they don't require extra help, and you know, healthcare benefits. They don't make HMO and housing benefits. They don't have nonprofit HMOs in mind to make a SNAP benefit choose that everybody that works for Oaks Integrated nonprofit, they now have to get donations from Aetna so they can have better health benefits. Their health benefits should be better than that. So I feel that nobody who works at Oaks Integrated has Medicare yet. Now that's the health insurance I have, and I don't want to make a mistake to let you know about it. But Medicaid benefits, they can't be food stamp benefits, and I have with attention deficit disorder could be alone, but as dyslexia is motivated, it's a dyslexic priority I don't want to talk about at this point in time because starvation isn't being placed as salvation or Salvation Army. There's this a starvation tactic being approached by the army in Israel to use on all Muslim enemies, I feel. And all Muslims are not terrorists. Even if one Muslim faith beneficiary of the terrorist can use that approach. But there are many different mass shooting victims that can't take a mass shooting approach to expediting a physician to talk about a benefit. While it is, I feel that health insurance doesn't have plans on what Trenton State College can have. But anybody inside of a prison can benefit from health insurance independently without having a doctor be so close that you can have SNAP benefits inside of your health insurance, and then you can have healthcare in mind for a doctor who works in prison to take time. So I don't have time to take that approach to make statements that can't, apprehend the statement of what it is that I would use suspicion for. But as it is, I have a position that I want to take. I want to maintain what it is I have without the independence. So while dignity can be to use what it is I don't want to claim. I don't want to claim to name my child to take what child support can be to still install a statement that can, take me of my time with, a benefactual time to just make it that, child support is what I want to say is an attachment, but it's not a healthcare benefit. So it could be sad. Muting and things. But if you have what you can and you smell your own body, your odor can't just come and leave. But I would have did something by myself inside here. And to paint this entire house, I would have whitewashed it. Nope. I would use sheetrock. And sheetrock, that's whitewashed. types of sediment. So I want to invest that, to be inside of this whitewashed sheetrock sediment. I want that's not sedimented, washed sheetrock. So, not to make a mistake to conclude where I want. Um, it's only me, myself alone, who's being pursued by what it is I feel that extra help is. But as it is, this extra help is being persecutively, driven toward where I live. This extra help is for elderly individuals, um, as well as for people who have health problems. And it's not, mental healthish, but this extra help is like, being pushed on people that I can't talk about. So it wouldn't, be an injurious time to speak about it. But so I want to say food stamp benefits or SNAP benefits. But the other things that can happen, when you work or you're employed, you can have a job that doesn't have, a 401k or a retirement plan in mind and has no health benefits to be distributed, to a person who needs that type of job. So I don't want to make a lot of different problems to occur about what I want to do. So what I'm going to have is a time to not over speak of what I want to talk about so I can approach the evening so I can go to sleep. I want to stay where I am so I can stay awake, and I'm also going to use the time I have to do that. My favorite song that I recorded this month has to be Nigger. I want to say it, but to have had it become how it came, it's appropriate, but it was an apprehensive time to bring about how many times could come from it to make it smart. That being what it is that I heard it being, and I appreciate that that was not the definition of the time to dispense the ignorance that could come from one of an ignorant, but there's a state that I use about what it is I want, but I don't exactly say nigger, or I'm not even saying that I'm called a nigger. I'm just not based on that. But that's the state that I have for a title, but it's just a place I have for that, and I appreciate that that was something I had to have corrected, but there was that, and I did like that. I did. All of a sudden, I don't like that. I do. All right. Okay. All of a sudden, and then this, and that, and this. Speaks of added water. Add water. Ounce of water. That's added here. Now you already know. So add to this time. That's a mistake that can't be. Oh, so no. My coffee maker wants some water and it's filled up, so I gotta add some. I'll fill, or really not drink any more coffee. So I'm not going to drink any more coffee until I find out how much water is needed in the coffee maker, right? The machine. So